Uh, hey guys, I'm just going to do a short video on how to frag a package on the VG server. So first of all, I'll just go over some of the settings we have for the Veterans Gaming server. So you want to click on the comms tab and just set up a new entry and fill in the details. Okay, according to what we've got here. Just give it a name. Doesn't matter what you call it, but Veterans Gaming is what I've got here. You need to type in the IP address, set the bandwidth to 1500. It's just a figure that we've selected for server stability. Make sure these two squares are enabled and put the IP address in again down the bottom. No need to put a password in. Okay, so click on connect. This connects us to the server. And if everything's okay, you should get a message saying you've got a connection established. Okay, so that means you're now have connected to the server. So if you're going to join the campaign, this is what this tutorial's about. You would click on the campaign button there, or that button. If you're going to run a training engagement with one of your mates, you would obviously click on tactical, and you could run any of these training missions on the server. That's fine. It's okay to do that. You could also set up your own. So these are a few training missions that I've created for myself. So if I wanted to share this and fly with any of these missions with my buddies, I can just select that and click on commit one, and then this panel here will show up. So it will actually run this training engagement. So I could change the name, call it I don't know, F22. Let's change the name to something more sensible. So I call it TE mission F22, just for reference. I could also give it a password if you wanted to make it private. You could actually type in a password, and you just leave the defaults here and just click on OK. And that's as simple as that. Okay, so it's a policy that you can actually run training engagements on the server, but you're not allowed to run a separate campaign to the one that's currently running. Okay, so we can only have one campaign, but you can run as many training engagements as you like. Okay, well, within reason. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch online to the campaign. So just click on the campaign button, and you want to click on this online button, and this is the VG server. It's currently running rolling fire. So just click on that top level, and you should get this map showing. So by default, we just suggest that people join the Sasan airbase, which is down here. You could join if you wanted to do carrier ops for using the Harrier. You could select this one here. But generally, we tell people if they're new, just to start off with at the Sasan airbase and select Sasan. You can see that there. It's the 120th KFS, and just hit commit online. Don't do anything here. Just accept it, and you're in. So this is the server. We're currently at day 8 in the campaign. And you can see we're in the 120th fighter squadron. So you can see there's no flights that have been fragged. That's because this particular squadron is specifically for human players. Okay, it's not for bots. If you wanted to check out other flights, just click on the air tasking order down below, select this button, and you'll get all the flights that are currently running on the server. So you can join any of these flights, but these are all AI flights, so it's not recommended that you get in there and adjust things and muck around with them too much, because it's been fragged by the HQ. So stick to, if you're going to be flying on your own, or just want to just jump in on a flight, yeah, sure, just jump in on one of those ones. But probably the best way to do it is to actually create your own flight, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So currently we're actually fragged into the 120th, so um, I'm going to frag a flight to destroy. So let's take out this radar here. So you would right click on the map or on the target, add package, add new. This is where you really got to know a little bit about what jets are stationed at Sasan. I know for a fact that we've got the KF-116C Block 52 RKOF. That should be there. And you'll see that automatically it's put in the airbase, which is CSN. The target is the radar installation. And it's guessing that you probably want to do an Oka strike, but which suits me. I'll leave it like that. But you could make it a sweep, or you could make it an escort flight, interception, whatever, or just set it to training if you're just training with your mates. But so for now, I'll just leave it to Oka flight. You've got a choice. You can have up to 4 jets in the flight. So in this case, it's going to be me and 3 AI. The squadron is 120th because we're already logged in. But if I selected, say, a block 40, which I know is based at Osan, it's going to put us. The package is going to fly out of Osan Air Base, not Sasan. Okay, so you've really got to know a bit about what aircraft are located at the particular airbase. So we know that the Block 52 ROKF F-16 is based at Sasan. So if you select that, then it'll definitely put you in the 120th, and the airbase will be Sasan. Now, the skill level by default is rookie. Rookie, cadet, recruit. These selections here are the skill levels of the AI, not your skill level. That's the skill level of the AI that you're going to be flying with. So you could go for ace, but if there aren't enough ace pilots in the squadron, you'll end up with, instead of 4, you might end up with 2 or 3 or none. Okay, so if you really want to make sure that it's going to work first time, just leave it on skill level on rookie. You're going to get a rookie pilot as your teammates. So click OK, and you'll see that because we're already in the 120th, this package is now showing up. So you want to see these icons here. You want to select, if you're the flight lead, you should be the flight lead if you're on your own. So just make sure you click on that icon, and if you don't see this flight path on the map, then all you got to do is click on this package to make it should highlight, should show up. Okay, so the next step is to set your loadout for the mission. Okay, so we click on loadout. and we can see that we've got 4 individual pilots, so it's automatically picked what it thinks you should need to complete this mission. It's chosen Mavericks in this case. I don't really want Mavericks, so I want to change that, and I think I might change these so that I've got the same type of missile. So I've got 120Bs. Um, Now, at the moment, because all of these panels are selected in green, it means that whatever I change here, it'll change it for everybody. Okay, so if you're flying with a group of guys, you want to make sure that only one guy's doing this. Usually the flight leader. All right, so we want to change the air-to-ground missile from Maverick to something else. So you want to select AG for air-to-ground, and this is the list of all of the bombs available for this particular model. So I'm going to choose 2 GBU-31s. These are JDAMs. While I'm here, I'm also going to set the, that means we've all got JDAMs now. So what I'm going to do now is also have a look at, yeah, okay, so we've got a nav pod and a lantern, which is a targeting pod, and we've got 2 tanks. Right, that's fine. More than enough. This is our gross weight, 40,000 pounds, pretty heavy. So it's going to be a bit slow if you come across any enemy aircraft. Trying to dogfight with that much weight on, it's a bit tough. But this is just an exercise, so to show you how to frag a package. So what we're going to do now is, before we leave this screen, I'm going to set the laser code for each pilot. So the first one, the flight leader is going to be 1511. The wingman for the flight leader will be 1512. The element lead is number 3 man, 1513. And the wingman for the element lead, well, number 4 position, will be 1514. So just select that. I mean, we can see that everybody's got the same loadout, but you can see the different laser codes have been set. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So you might also want to go into the data cartridge page and set the bands, the default. So for UHF, the default for that should be number 2. Okay, just move this up to number 2, and if this is not set to green, then click on that box and make sure it is green. So that's going to be your default channel when you spawn in. Also set the VHF default channel. That should be 15. Keep going all the way through to 15, and make sure that checkbox is set there. It's flight 1, which is the flight 1 in the package. Okay. So if you just set that, just save it. Also, I tend to hit complan and then save. That's just a habit of mine. But the most important thing is to set those defaults for your presets. So I'll show you once we get into the cockpit what that does. Now MFDs, you can set a few settings so that you've got FCR on the left MFD. The secondary option would be TFR, FLIR, and current is what you're going to see when you log in. So you can set all your MFDs in this page here, so that every time you spawn into the cockpit, it will show you what it'll be set up this way. Okay, so that's something you might want to do. You might want to also do that for every mode: air-to-air mode, how things are going to appear, nav mode, and even air to ground mode and all the different other modes. So it's a bit of time, but once you've got it all set up, then it means that when you jump into the cockpit, it's going to look the same every time. You're not going to be looking for things. All right, so we're pretty much ready to go. So someone said that they wanted to know how to set. They didn't want to wait for an hour because if we just click on take off now, you can see we've got to wait 38 minutes for this to count down. Okay, so how do we start earlier? So just cancel that and make sure this is stopped. And what you do is you click on one of these step points. It doesn't matter which one, and go back to step point 1. You could be up, say, on step point 7, and just go back to. You'll see that some of these step points have got little green padlocks next to them. Okay, so the first job you need to do before you move anything, if you wanted to, say, move some of these stair points around, the first thing you need to do is make sure that all the padlocks associated with those stair points are unchecked. Okay, so it's pretty easy, but it's important that you do it. So unlock all the padlocks. Before you move any of those stair points. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to say set a stair point so that I could overfly the carrier fleet up here, or I could set a step point for Incheon Air Base. Set one that takes me over the carrier fleet, and then go back on course to the target. Okay, so this is just to show you how to do things. And you'll notice that everything's staying, it's staying white. That's what you want to see. As soon as they start going red, that's usually because you've got a step point locked. So it's causing problems. Okay, so if you don't want any hassles, you definitely need to unlock all those step points. And so, like I've done, you could even move the alternative airbase to Incheon Airbase. That's this one here. So instead of going all the way back to Saesan, we want to land at this airbase. So we just move the alternative airbase to wherever you want to land as an alternative. And that's not a bad technique because it just means sometimes when you're out there, you run out of gas. You can just divert to the alternative airfield and get down safely without having to go all the way back. So you can see step point 10 is going to be the alternative step point to take you back to the alternative airfield. So we can see the radar is the major target. We've got that already. So we're all going to take off. So what we need to do is, because the takeoff time is roughly 30 minutes, it's too long to wait. So we change that by looking at the main clock up here. You see it's 12:33. So the takeoff time here for step point 1, which is the beginning of the flight, is 13:08. Okay, so 12:33 is their current time, 13:08 is the takeoff time. So we need to adjust the takeoff time so that it's 20 minutes. It's the current time plus 20 minutes. 20 minutes is the lowest you can get it down to. So you'll have to, wait for 20 minutes, unfortunately. So to work this out, what you do is you just add 20 to the current time. So we say it's 12:34 plus 20, which would be 12:54. Okay, so that means we can select there's the hours and there's the minutes. So we want to, 'to, 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 ' reduce the time by clicking on this little arrow here until we get it down to, what is that, 20, 34 plus 20 is 54, so we bring it down to 54. So it'll be 12:54. Here we go. It's just tripped. So that's as low as we can go. That's 12:55. We can see the seconds here counting away. It's going to trip to 12:35. So if I wait until that flips over to 12:35, that should make takeoff time exactly 20 minutes. Okay, so it's just tripped now. So now if we click on takeoff, we've got 20 minutes and 12 seconds and counting. I mean, you could switch on taxiway, but then you'd have to wait. It's going to take a while because that counts down to 5 minutes. The quickest way is just to click on ramp and do a full ramp start. So if you're new to BMS and you're doing a ramp start, it's probably going to take you more than 20 minutes anyway. Okay, so we're at night, unfortunately. So we're actually on the VG server now. It's pitch black. So, well, it's not actually pitch black, but I mean, I've seen it worse than this on other airfields. So let's just get rid of these legs. So the first thing you want to do is you should really map a switch for the battery switch, which is here. Otherwise, you'll have trouble trying to find it. You can press N to use night vision. But that's the battery switch you want to map. You really should map that onto your, as an important switch on your HOTAS. So I'll turn this off. So you want the battery switch on, then use Shift S for the spotlight, and you can see the whole cockpit. So I'm just going to run quickly through a full ramp start. I'm not going to explain it too much because it'll take forever, and just get this thing started up. We're going to close the canopy. Lock the spider, arm the seat. Fuel feed to norm. Air source to norm. And right click on the JFS. IFF to norm. And ECM consent on. ILS on. Threat volume controls on. Radio controls for comms 1 and comms 2. Radio switch to both. Backup radio off. And what we're looking for is on this RPM percent gauge here, we want to see this needle get to that first green marker, which is 25%. Okay, just about there. Don't go any earlier, otherwise you're probably going to end up with a hot start. Okay, so we're on 25%. Now we can move the idle to tent. So just click on this little curve lever here and push the throttle to around about, not full throttle, but 75% of full throttle. And we're looking at this gauge here. It's coming up to the 40% there now. Bring the throttle back to idle. It's something that you need to practice when you're first starting out in BMS, because that tends to screw everybody up. Okay, so just let it power up. Now we need to put on our avionics. So let's turn on the INS to norm and flick these switches up here. Oxygen on, anti-ice to auto, left and right hard point, so these ones across the front. FCR on, radar altimeter to standby. I normally have these couple of switches here switched to, because just my preference. That's the HUD. It needs to also power up the threat warning system, so let's actually put the parking brake on. Landing lights on. Actually, we can put the taxi lights on, it throws a bit more light. And power up the threat warning auxiliary. And while we're here, switch on the search. Now let's power up all this panel here. RWR on, jammer on, MWS on. These don't do anything. Chaff and flare. And set the mode. And helmet mounted queuing system is on. What else we got here? Got a few warning lights here that are on. Now you can see the FCR is powering up, so that'll take 101 seconds to finish that. So while we're waiting for that, let's power up the TGPs, center the HSD. The reason why I power the TGP up now is because it takes it's one of the longest things to get going. So just switch it on, standby AA. Wide, set the north pointer. That's it there. And yeah. Now, next thing to do would be to clear some of these errors. So what we're going to do is clear the master caution, go back and reset the flight control system, and then clear the faults. Test, clear. Now there should be no recurring faults, and most of these should be off. I'm not sure why IFF is on. It should be. Anyway, it may disappear. So the main thing is that you've got no major faults here. I can clear this one here, see if that makes any difference. Nope. Okay, hit return. Okay, so this is powered up, I think. Standby, CRM, and assign if you're the flight leader. So remember I talked about the presets in the data cartridge. At the moment the presets should be 2 and 15. It's showing 6 and 13. That's because we have not loaded the data cartridge, so we need to do that. DTC and load. And now it's going to load the data cartridge. You'll see this change to 2 and 15 once the data cartridge is loaded. You see it's counting down, loading all the different the data. We can see that it's changed the default UHF channel to 2 and 15, which is exactly what you want. UHF 2, VHF 15. So that means when I'm holding the VHF switch down, the rest of your flight members should better hear you talking through the VHF radio. If I switch that up, they'll better hear you talking on the UHF channel. Okay. if you've got a voice attack program or like a voice activated programs to control your comms, that's what makes this whole thing cool. Okay, so we're at Saosan Air Base, so we need to set the TACAN channel. So number 1 on the scratch pad. You can see the channel is set to 94 by default. That's incorrect for Saosan, so we need to change that. Saosan is 52. So type in 52, enter, band X, and also we need to change the frequency or for the ILS. So the ILS will be 11150, 12350, enter. And the course, I normally set the course for the return landing strip. So the landing runway will be 4.
Agent 61, Soul Side, runway 03, right for landing.
Yeah, 03 right. Okay, so what is that? 032, I think it is. 032. And then hit return. Okay, so we can see this align message up there. That means that the INS is finally aligned, so we can switch that to nav. And you'll see now on your HSD your flight path, even though you can't see it very well there. Alright, so the FCR is correct. A few things to set here. Put the master's arm on, laser arm on. We're carrying JDAM, so I'm going to set up the air-to-air and air-to-ground modes. So air-to-air. For the 120Bs, I'm going to set this to medium. Set up the TGP for air-to-air. That's pretty much it for air-to-air and air-to-ground, which will be GBU 31s. So I'm going to power that, switch on the power. I'm also going to set the impact angle from the default 55 to 35. Just find it a lot more accurate if I do this. 35. And set the TGP to air to ground. And that's all you need to do. Switch that to nav. Okay, one or two things more to do. Let's set our list controls for the 808 will be bullseye. Enter. And then list 05. So we oops. So I want to change the laser code to 1511 because that's my one. Enter 1511. Enter 0 to change it from training to combat laser, and then hit return. That's pretty much it. See, the IFF has gone off, so that's clear, which is a good sign. Bucket brakes on. Everything's clear. Okay, the last thing you want to do is make sure that this handoff is on. It affects the RWR. And we're good to go. So we're going to put our navigation lights to steady, to flash. See that? Yep. And we're going to make a call to the tower. T3.
Great. evening, Agent 6. You are number 1 for departure. Taxi Alpha. Then hold short, runway 03 left.
Okay, so 03 left's out that way. Actually, the only thing I haven't set up is the helmet-mounted queuing system. This thing there. You can see it's working, but it only works when I've got my head up there. So let's reset that. So that'll be list 0 RCL sequence and 0. So let's just reset this to my. I'm going to get this thing as close as you can to this thing here. Cursor enable. It's in the menu how to do this. Aligns OK. So that's the course alignment. So that means that I've got it set so it blanks when I move my head over the cockpit. It's going to blank it out. And it's working, you know, all angles. Alright, so undo the chocks. And nose wheel steering on, and we're going to move out to the holding lines. Alright, so that's how to frag a package from scratch and how to ramp start a F-16 at Sayasan Air Base, carrying 2 JDAMs. Alright, so I'm probably going to end this video here. I'll just pull up to these holding lines and we'll just end it here. So hopefully this will help anybody who's new to Falcon BMS and is not sure how to frag a package on a multiplayer server. Now this is for our settings for the VG server, so you'd have to find out if you join another server. You'd have to find out what their SOPs are. Okay, so that's it. Control Shift to take the spotlight off. Actually, I want to put that panel. Let's put that on and switch to night mode. So we turn the spotlight off. Got this nice little green glow. Alright, so other than that, we're ready to take off and do some damage. So it's not perfect. I haven't done all the tests that you should do when you're flying, but it's just a pretty quick way to get yourself airborne. You'll get faster at doing all this stuff the more you practice. Okay, so Cav signing out.